Hey everybody, Minus again from wowplus.org. Going to our next video here. So last time we've done some image placement to show that our daggers are up. We've done things with combo points, which you can see there. So the last few things we have left to do that you haven't seen is adding debuffs in, which work very similar to how we did the daggers, but we're going to do some debuff meters so we can see when our garrote and our ruptures fall off targets. And this will work with any debuff you put on a target from any class. So we're going to add those two in, and then the rest of what we're going to do is really just get all our cooldowns up there. And honestly, most of you have already seen how to do an image, how to do an icon like our Toxic Blade, the different things like Evasion, Vendetta. All of those types of things are going to be done exactly the same way. So not a whole lot to learn from that. So what I'm probably going to do is just go ahead and show you how to do the debuff bars. We'll place them and probably end this video, and then I'm going to go ahead and complete it by making the rest of them by copying Toxic Blade and kind of do a final wrap-up video about it. So let's go ahead. There'll be the two debuff bars we want to make are for, again, garrote and for rupture. So what we're going to do is go ahead and we're going to copy. Actually, let's go ahead and make a brand new bar. So we're going to make a progress bar. If you remember some of the stuff I said, so we'll do this one first as garrote. We'll call it time, since we already have garrote. And we're going to make one here, and then we'll go ahead and just copy it once we do the one. So when we make a bar, display is important. Remember that. We don't need the name on the left. You're more than welcome to keep that. We certainly don't need the icon, which will be in the way. And we're going to take out the left text and just have the right text be the remaining time. Okay, so a couple things is let's get it into the group before we do too much because it will move a little bit. It is now in the group as garrote time. So conditions to load are player class, talent, specialization. It's just going to be rogue, assassination. We're going to go into trigger. This is an aura on a target, and it is a debuff. So that's important that we change that. So again, this is garrote, target, debuff. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we want to get a little technical with how we're going to display this so that everything looks good. If we do this with our HP bar, for example, or our energy bar, we sort of want to line it up. So we want to look at our X, and we want to take almost our X and our size and make it the same. So if we go over to display and we go look at our HP bar, which is actually a little thin, let's look at our energy bar. The size of our energy bar, if you go all the way down here to the bottom, is 203.89 by 12.78. So what we can actually do is go ahead and just change that 203.89 and clicking back up on energy again, 12.78. Some of you may be saying, why don't we just copy the dimensions? It's because it's going to move it down. Again, not a huge problem if it does, but since we're working at where we want to put it, I'm going to keep it here. And then we're going to look at the placement of X so that we can line it up properly. So we'll do energy. The X is 180. Garrote, negative 180. Okay, so that'll line our bars up. They're actually going to be the same size, and that's perfect. Now, what I'm going to do with this is actually make it half of the width. So doing some quick math, I'm probably going to actually make it a little smaller than half. So let's just say it's 202, so we'll make it 101. Let's be a little different. And we're going to go ahead and line that up as well. Okay, so that's going to be our garrote time. I'm going to go ahead and keep that red because red is the prominent color you see out of that logo. And now what we're going to do is copy it for our rupture. So go ahead and duplicate. We're going to call this rupture time. and we are going to move it its full width over. So right now it is 101. We want to move it 101. So moving it to the right is subtraction, so it'll be, and just to make sure we can see them both, you can see the different timers on them, and they should fit perfectly right above where we were prior. So that should work awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and change the colors of them so that we know what we're dealing with. I'm going to change the garrote to a, this may sound silly, but to like a silver, just because my icon is silver. I do silly things like that. You can do whatever you want with them, but it just will help me remember the difference between them without having the text of the ability on them. So just hit OK, and now that will show us if our target has the debuffs on it. So let's go ahead and get into combat and show you that. So I'm going to lead with garrote so you can see the timer there, but what did we do wrong? We did not change the talent. So when we had it trigger, we didn't change it to rupture. So let's go back in. And you're going to have a lot of trial and error like this. That's why I film these videos pretty raw. I'm not sitting here with a script. I want to show you guys what it's really like to make a weak aura. These are mistakes I still make, and I consider myself pretty knowledgeable. So if I go into trigger, we have to change this to rupture. See that logo? That means you did it right. Everything else is fine. Close it. Let's go test it one more time. Okay, so now we just have that. Let's see, that's up there now. So now you know when to refresh. If a target stays up, it's a lot easier to know when you're going to refresh, when you're going to just be spending it on damage and the like. Okay, so that's how you do your debuff bars. You can change them in colors. You can put them where you think is most useful for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here to keep this short, just so you guys can see that, how we duplicated, how we moved, how we resized, and how a debuff works versus the bars we made before in energy and health. What I'm also going to do is go ahead and start finishing this up. I'm going to do that outside of a video and kind of show you how everything looks. Keep in mind, all the rest of the icons I make are just going to be sizes and changes of where they're at, and I may move my combo points around a little bit, but basically all the rest of the icons I'm going to make. So let's go over those real quick. An icon for sprint, Cloak of Shadows, an icon for Crimson Vial, for faint, for blind, for kick, for vendetta, for shadow step, for evasion, for vanish, and probably even for kidney shot if you're using it as an interrupt. So just important to know, anything with a cooldown is what I want to put up. The reason I'm not putting up rupture and I'm not putting up envenom is because I already know what those buttons are. I don't need to see them. I just need to know I have combo points, and I'm only going to put rupture on if I know that I need it, because my status bar shows me it's off up there. So I'm going to go ahead and do all that off of a video, and then I'll do a final wrap-up video to show you what I did and how that came to be, and just close everything up. So thank you guys. One more video for your basics in WeakAuras, and be happy to hear from everybody as well if there's something specific you want to see.